where murky rivers meet the endless ocean. A silent empire exists beneath the surface. Mangrove roots twist into dark waters like ancient fingers, and tidal channels carve through coastal wetlands with the patience of centuries. Here, in this liminal world between land and sea, tranquility masks an ancient danger. Yet beneath this stillness lurks a predator that has witnessed the rise and fall of dinosaurs. Suddenly, the water erupts. A massive form launches from the shallows with explosive force, jaws lined with 70 razor-sharp teeth closing with devastating precision. This is the saltwater crocodile, the largest living reptile on Earth, and the undisputed ruler of two worlds, spanning from the coastal regions of northern Australia through Southeast Asia to the eastern shores of India. These prehistoric titans have carved out an empire that defies the boundaries most creatures obey. They are equally at home in freshwater rivers, brackish estuaries, and the open ocean itself. With some individuals exceeding 20 feet in length and weighing over 2,000 pounds, the saltwater crocodile represents nature in its most formidable and awe-inspiring form. Welcome to Wildlife AI's. Today, we journey into the realm of the ultimate apex predator, exploring how these magnificent reptiles have conquered ecosystems that would defeat almost any other creature on Earth. The mangrove labyrinth along the northern coastline of Australia. Stretching from Western Australia through the Northern Territory to Queensland, lies one of the most complex and productive ecosystems on Earth. The mangrove forests here represent a biological frontier, where terrestrial and marine environments merge into something entirely unique. These coastal wetlands experience dramatic tidal fluctuations, with water levels rising and falling by as much as 26 feet in some regions. Twice daily, the landscape transforms completely. Mudflats become shallow seas, and channels that were mere trickles swell into navigable waterways. It is within this ever-changing environment that the saltwater crocodile has established its dominion. The mangrove ecosystem provides everything these apex predators require. Tangled root systems offer concealment for ambush hunting. Tidal channels serve as highways connecting hunting grounds, and the brackish waters, where fresh river water mingles with oceanic saltwater, present no obstacle to a creature that has evolved specialized adaptations for osmoregulation, covering approximately 45,000 square miles of Australian coastline alone. These mangrove systems support not only crocodiles, but an intricate web of life. Mud crabs scuttle between exposed roots. Barramundi patrol deeper channels. Migratory shorebirds arrive in their millions during certain seasons, and presiding over all of this abundance sits the saltwater crocodile, patient and watchful. Masters of adaptation, the saltwater crocodile, known scientifically as Crocodilus proceas, represents over 200 million years of evolutionary refinement. While the dinosaurs they once coexisted with have long since vanished, these reptiles have persisted virtually unchanged, because their design requires no improvement. Adult males typically measure between 14 and 17 feet in length, though exceptional individuals have been documented exceeding 20 feet. Females are considerably smaller, generally reaching lengths of 9 to 11 feet. This size difference plays a crucial role in the species' social dynamics and territorial behavior. The physical construction is a masterwork of predatory engineering. The skull alone can measure over 2 feet in length in large males, housing jaw muscles capable of generating bite forces exceeding 3,000 pounds per square inch. Unlike their freshwater relatives, saltwater crocodiles possess specialized salt-excreting glands located on their tongues. These modified salivary glands allow them to expel excess salt from their bodies, enabling extended periods in marine environments, while freshwater crocodiles would dehydrate and perish in oceanic conditions. Saltwater crocodiles can traverse hundreds of miles of open ocean, riding currents between islands and continents. Their eyes and nostrils are positioned on the top of their heads, allowing them to remain almost entirely submerged while maintaining full sensory awareness of their surroundings. The patient predator and the art of predation. The saltwater crocodile has perfected a strategy that prioritizes efficiency above all else. Unlike mammalian predators that must hunt frequently to fuel their warm-blooded metabolisms, crocodiles are ectothermic, regulating their body temperature through environmental means. This physiological trait allows them to survive on remarkably little food when necessary. A large adult saltwater crocodile may consume only 50 full meals per year, though each meal can be substantial. This efficiency comes from their hunting method, a technique refined over countless generations. The classic crocodile ambush, begins with positioning. Moving slowly and silently, often during twilight hours when visibility is reduced, the crocodile selects a location where prey animals are likely to approach the water's edge. River crossings, established drinking sites, and tidal flats, where fish concentrate during retreating tides, are all favored locations. Once positioned, the crocodile becomes virtually invisible. Only its eyes and nostrils break the water's surface, camouflaged among floating debris and aquatic vegetation. The crocodile can maintain this position for hours, its heart rate slowing to just 2 or 3 beats per minute, conserving energy while remaining perfectly alert. When prey ventures within striking range, typically within one body length of the crocodile's head, the attack unfolds with shocking speed. Despite their bulk, saltwater crocodiles can launch themselves from the water with acceleration that rivals many smaller, seemingly more agile predators. The strike takes mere milliseconds, often catching prey completely unaware. The death roll. Once a crocodile has secured its grip on prey, a specialized technique comes into play that has made these animals infamous throughout their range. Unable to chew their food, crocodiles have developed what is commonly called the death roll, a spinning motion that serves multiple purposes. By clamping down on a portion of prey and then rapidly spinning their entire body, crocodiles can tear manageable pieces from larger carcasses. This technique also serves to disorient and drown prey that is still alive, reducing the risk of injury to the crocodile during the struggle. Studies have shown that crocodiles can spin at rates of up to 3 full rotations per second, generating forces that few prey animals can withstand. This behavior is largely instinctive, appearing in juvenile crocodiles without any observed learning period. After securing and processing their meal, crocodiles swallow their food whole or in large chunks. Opportunistic excellence, while the ambush remains their signature technique. Saltwater crocodiles are far more adaptable hunters than many realize. They have been documented employing a remarkable variety of strategies depending on circumstances and available prey. In some regions, crocodiles have learned to anticipate seasonal events that concentrate prey. The annual Barramundi run, when these fish gather in certain rivers to spawn, attracts crocodiles from considerable distances. Similarly, the nesting season of sea turtles brings crocodiles to beaches where they can intercept females coming ashore or departing after laying eggs. Perhaps most impressively, research has revealed that some crocodile populations engage in cooperative hunting behavior. Multiple individuals have been observed working together to herd fish into shallow areas where capture becomes easier. While less sophisticated than the cooperative strategies of some mammals, this behavior demonstrates cognitive capabilities that were long underestimated in reptiles. Crocodiles have also been documented using bait to attract prey. By bouncing sticks and other nesting materials on their snouts, they lure birds seeking construction supplies for their nests. When an unsuspecting bird lands to collect the material, it becomes a meal instead. This represents one of the few documented examples of tool use in reptiles. The hierarchy of river saltwater crocodile populations are not random gatherings but rather highly structured societies governed by strict territorial rules. Dominant males establish and defend territories that may span several miles of river or coastline, and these territories are defended with lethal seriousness. Territorial battles between male saltwater crocodiles are among the most violent encounters in the animal kingdom. These confrontations typically begin with displays, each male raising its head and tail from the water in a posture designed to emphasize size. Loud vocalizations, including bellowing roars that can travel for miles, serve as additional warnings. If neither male backs down, physical combat ensues. The combatants slam their heads together, attempt to bite each other's jaws and limbs, and engage in violent wrestling. These battles can last for hours and frequently result in serious injuries, including lost limbs, damaged jaws, and deep lacerations. Death is not uncommon. The winner claims or retains territorial rights, which include exclusive breeding access to females within that territory. Defeated males must either find unoccupied territory, which is increasingly rare in heavily populated areas, or exist as nomadic individuals constantly moving to avoid conflict. This territorial system serves important ecological functions. By spacing out dominant breeding males, the population avoids localized overexploitation of prey resources. Territories also tend to encompass the highest quality habitat, ensuring that the most successful individuals have access to optimal conditions for reproduction. Female domains and nesting. Female saltwater crocodiles maintain smaller territories that typically overlap with those of dominant males. Their spatial requirements centered on access to suitable nesting sites rather than hunting grounds, though both factors influence territory selection. Nesting occurs during the wet season in most populations, when rising water levels and abundant rainfall create optimal conditions for egg development. Females construct large mound nests from vegetation and mud, typically locating these structures on elevated ground that will remain above floodwaters. A single nest may contain 40 to 60 eggs, though clutches exceeding 90 eggs have been documented. The female guards her nest vigilantly throughout the roughly 90-day incubation period, rarely feeding and attacking any animal that approaches too closely. Temperature during incubation determines the sex of the developing embryos. This temperature-dependent sex determination makes the species potentially vulnerable to climate change, as shifting temperatures could skew population sex ratios. When the eggs begin hatching, the young crocodiles emit chirping calls from within their shells. The mother excavates the nest and may gently carry hatchlings to the water in her mouth. A remarkably delicate behavior from such a powerful predator. She will continue guarding her offspring for several weeks or even months, though juvenile mortality remains extremely high despite this protection. Keystone predator. Within their range, saltwater crocodiles function as keystone species, organisms whose influence on their ecosystem far exceeds what their numbers alone would suggest. Their presence shapes the behavior and distribution of countless other species, creating ripple effects throughout the food web. Prey animals alter their behavior dramatically in response to crocodile presence. Wallabies and other terrestrial mammals approach water sources with extreme caution, often drinking only in groups and remaining hypervigilant throughout. This behavioral modification reduces overgrazing of vegetation near waterways, indirectly benefiting plant communities and the species that depend on them. Fish populations are regulated by crocodile predation, preventing any single species from dominating and maintaining the diversity that characterizes healthy aquatic ecosystems. The nutrients that crocodiles cycle through the system, from terrestrial prey consumed on land to waste products deposited in water, create biogeochemical connections between environments. Even crocodile nesting behavior influences the ecosystem. The mounds constructed by females create elevated microsites that certain plant species colonize. The disturbance caused by nest excavation and the nutrients from decomposing egg material enrich local soils. These effects persist long after individual nesting events. Companion species. The waters ruled by saltwater crocodiles harbor a remarkable diversity of other wildlife, each species adapted to coexist with or avoid these apex predators. Understanding this community provides insight into the complexity of tropical coastal ecosystems. The barramundi, perhaps the most iconic fish of northern Australian waters, shares its habitat with saltwater crocodiles throughout its range. This large predatory fish can reach lengths of 6 feet and weights exceeding 100 pounds. While adult barramundi have few predators other than crocodiles, younger individuals face threats from numerous sources. Bull sharks represent one of the few animals capable of challenging adult crocodiles. These sharks regularly enter freshwater systems, sometimes traveling hundreds of miles up rivers. Encounters between the two species do occur, though both typically prefer to avoid direct confrontation. When conflicts arise, the outcome often depends on the relative sizes of the individuals involved. Sea turtles, particularly flatback and olive ridley species, nest on beaches within saltwater crocodile range. While adult turtles are occasionally taken by large crocodiles, more commonly it is the hatchlings that fall victim as they make their vulnerable journey from nest to sea. Wading birds including herons, eagles, and spoonbills feed in crocodile-inhabited waters, relying on vigilance and flight capability to avoid becoming prey. Interestingly, some bird species have learned to nest in trees directly above crocodile-occupied waters, using the reptiles as inadvertent guardians against terrestrial nest predators. Crossing the blue. Among the most remarkable aspects of saltwater crocodile biology is their capacity for oceanic travel. While often associated with rivers and estuaries, these animals regularly venture into open ocean waters, traveling distances that would be lethal for most terrestrial vertebrates. Satellite tracking studies have documented individual crocodiles traveling over 300 miles across open ocean, rather than swimming these enormous distances, which would require unsustainable energy expenditure. Crocodiles appear to exploit ocean currents for transport. They enter the water when currents will carry them toward their destination and haul out on beaches or floating debris when currents run contrary. This strategy allows them to cover vast distances while expending minimal energy. This capability explains the widespread distribution of the species across islands separated by deep ocean channels. Saltwater crocodiles have colonized thousands of islands throughout Indonesia, the Philippines, and the broader Indo-Pacific region. Some populations exist on islands hundreds of miles from any mainland, maintained entirely by occasional oceanic immigration. The implications of this mobility extend beyond simple dispersal. Genetic studies indicate that crocodile populations across vast geographic ranges remain connected through ongoing gene flow. Unlike many island species that rapidly differentiate into distinct forms, saltwater crocodiles maintain remarkable genetic consistency precisely because individuals continue crossing oceanic barriers. Coastal hunting. When operating in marine environments, saltwater crocodiles demonstrate behavioral flexibility that speaks to their remarkable adaptability. Hunting strategies shift to accommodate different prey types and environmental conditions. In oceanic settings, crocodiles have been observed hunting sea snakes, marine turtles, and various fish species. They frequent reef edges, where fish aggregate and patrol, coastal shallows where rays and small sharks feed. Some individuals appear to specialize in marine hunting, spending extended periods away from freshwater systems. The tolerance for saltwater that enables these marine excursions comes with physiological costs. Crocodiles must periodically return to freshwater to fully rehydrate and flush accumulated salts from their systems. However, their remarkable salt glands allow them to extend marine sojourns far beyond what was once thought possible. Seasonal patterns often govern movement between marine and freshwater habitats. During dry seasons, when river levels drop and prey concentrates around remaining water sources, crocodiles may focus on freshwater hunting. From crisis to recovery, the story of saltwater crocodile conservation represents one of wildlife management's most significant success stories. Though challenges remain and vigilance continues to be essential, legal protection came just in time. Australia banned crocodile hunting in the early 1970s, and populations began a slow recovery. By the 1990s, crocodile numbers had rebounded sufficiently that sustainable use programs became feasible. The Australian model pioneered an innovative approach, combining strict wild population protection with commercial farming. Wild eggs and hatchlings are harvested under strictly regulated quotas, raised on farms, and their products sold legally. This system provides economic incentive for landowners to maintain crocodile habitat while ensuring wild populations remain healthy. Today, Australian saltwater crocodile numbers are estimated between 100,000 and 200,000 individuals, approaching or potentially exceeding pre-exploitation levels in many areas. Ongoing challenges. Despite the Australian success story, saltwater crocodile populations face significant challenges elsewhere in their range. In many Southeast Asian countries, habitat loss represents a more serious threat than direct hunting. Coastal development for aquaculture, particularly shrimp farming, has destroyed vast areas of mangrove habitat. The conversion of wetlands for agriculture reduces the available space for crocodile populations, and expanding human settlements bring people and crocodiles into increasing contact. Human-crocodile conflict represents an ongoing conservation challenge. As crocodile populations recover and human populations expand, attacks on humans have become more frequent in some regions. Each attack generates pressure for lethal control measures, and balancing human safety with conservation objectives requires careful management. Climate change introduces additional uncertainties. Rising sea levels threaten coastal nesting habitat. Conservation efforts increasingly focus on these emerging challenges. Community engagement programs work to reduce conflict through education and modified behaviors. Habitat restoration projects aim to offset losses from development, and research continues to improve understanding of how climate change may affect crocodile populations and what management responses may be necessary. The value of coexistence. Understanding the ecological and economic value of saltwater crocodiles helps build support for their continued conservation. Ecotourism centered on crocodile viewing has become a significant industry in parts of Australia. Boat tours offering opportunities to observe crocodiles in their natural habitat attract hundreds of thousands of visitors annually, generating millions of dollars in economic activity. This tourism provides employment and income for local communities, creating direct economic incentives for conservation. The Sustainable Use Program creates additional economic value. The Australian crocodile farming industry generates substantial export earnings while operating under strict sustainability requirements. by providing legal products to meet market demand. This regulated industry reduces incentives for poaching and builds local support for crocodile conservation. See cultural connections create additional motivations for conservation that complement ecological and economic arguments. As the sun sets over endless mangrove forests and tidal channels run gold with reflected light, the saltwater crocodile continues its ancient vigil. For over 200 million years, these remarkable predators have ruled the boundary waters where land meets sea. They have survived mass extinctions, ice ages, and continental drift, and they have survived humanity's most destructive impulses to now stand as symbols of conservation possibility. The saltwater crocodile asks nothing of us but space to exist. It requires healthy wetlands, intact coastlines, and the continued connection between rivers and seas that defines its unique ecological role. In protecting these habitats, we safeguard not only crocodiles, but the countless species that share their remarkable realm. From the smallest mud crab to the largest barramundi, from the mangrove forests that buffer coastlines against storms to the nutrient cycles that maintain ecosystem productivity. The saltwater crocodile sits at the center of interconnected systems that support both wildlife and human communities. This is not merely a story about one species. It is a story about the resilience of nature and the capacity for recovery when protection comes in time. It is a story about the complex ecological relationships that sustain healthy environments. And it is a story about finding ways for humans and wildlife to share landscapes, despite the challenges involved. The saltwater crocodile has conquered both land and sea. It has endured epics that destroyed countless other species. And today, with our help and understanding, it continues its reign as one of Earth's most magnificent predators. We hope this journey into the world of the saltwater crocodile has inspired wonder and appreciation for these incredible animals. The survival of species like this depends on continued conservation efforts and public support. Have you ever encountered a saltwater crocodile in the wild? What aspects of their biology do you find most fascinating? Consider supporting organizations working to protect crocodile habitat and reduce human-wildlife conflict. Even small actions, from sharing educational content to making responsible choices about coastal development, contribute to conservation outcomes. Coming soon, we venture into new territories to discover more of Earth's most remarkable wildlife. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay wild, stay curious, and remember that every species has its story worth telling.